Hello, everybody. Welcome to Otter Talk for Blue Otter Gold Finals Edition. We are here with the two final qualifying teams. It has been a bit of a journey to get here. Several playoffs matches have occurred, but we are finally whittled down to the top two. The top two from regular season, now the top two here in the playoffs. We have Fantastic Starcross Academy, or Fantastic Academy Starcross, pardon me, versus the Jolly Rogers Black Pearl. These are the number one and number two teams from the regular split. We're very excited to see them here. And of course, I'm being joined by guests from both teams. Representing Fantastic Academy, we have Golden Bob and Lil Pyro. And representing the Jolly Rogers, we have Astrid and Cake22. Folks, how are we doing on this evening?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Happy to have the game going through. And just looking forward to a good match.
Hell yeah. Anyone else from there's Cake22 there? Anyone from Fantastic Academy doing okay?
Yeah, a little nervous for it. All hyped up though.
We're chilling.
A little bit nervous, a little bit chilling. It's finals. We'll get you there. We'll get used to it. We'll get into it. So real quick, I do want to briefly touch on how these two teams got here. Have hammered home at this point that they were the top two teams in the regular splits. Both these teams did take a couple of losses during the regular season, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. After all, lose is improve. So taking those losses is definitely a way to help grow. And both these two teams did do that. And then in the playoffs, they both had that first round bye that they earned before Jolly Rogers ended up defeating some team in semifinals. I don't know much about those guys. Maybe they were a real team. I don't know. The Sons of Excel, kind of a weird team name there. But on the other side of bracket, Fantastic Academy did take down TD. So two kind of young blood teams coming up and defying kind of some preseason expectations there in those matches. Wanted to throw it to Jolly Rogers boys first. What did you guys think of the your semifinals match against a team that definitely existed?
Well, I thought that they were honestly a little bit harder than we thought, but I think it all just came down to the fact that we were able to get the first blood and we were just able to get the ball rolling. I feel like that's something our team does great at. We're able to get some momentum, we're able to keep it going, and I don't think there's much that they can do to stop us if we're able to get it rolling. But overall, I thought they were a pretty good team, but overall it was a lot of good matches by us, and we just all played fantastic.
Absolutely agree with that. Astrid, is there anything you want to throw onto there as well?
Well, we were just kind of happy to get the rematch against them because that was the only team we technically lost to in the regular season because of the whole.
Technically, yeah.
Technically speaking, it's correct. They were the only team that beat us in the regular season, but we were all very, very excited to get them in the bracket just because we kind of wanted to that little revenge arc for our side to actually play as a whole team rather than
the E-sub situation from hell. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I do give them a lot of credit. I think they play really well. I don't think they play bad, even though it was a trio. All the games were competitive. It was really fun games to do and to watch. And I was quite surprised with how they ended up playing. So I was really happy to play them again.
Yeah, I can definitely say from the losing side of that, Playing against you guys was very hard. Like I think you absolutely knew what your win cons were, and you played to them very well. And I was very glad that you guys were able to show up to that in full strength, because like yeah, the regular season loss, quote unquote, was very like by technicality thing. So being able to show your full strength in playoffs was definitely very cool for you guys. And then on the other side of bracket, we had Fantastic Academy beating TD. So throwing it over to Bob and Pyro, what did you guys feel about your match there? How do you feel like your quarterfinals went there, or your semifinals rather?
I feel like
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like our semifinals was pretty good. It was great to get to play TD again, because when we played them in the regular season, we were missing two of our main players, or we were missing one of our main players, and we had a whole switch up of our mid laner going top, and our support going mid, and our backup playing support. It was just an odd time, and it was great that we got to get a rematch against them.
Definitely a theme of revenge there. Pyro, anything you want to add on to that as well?
I was thinking about what to say about the last match with TD. Basically, I think we just outplayed them. I'm not gonna lie.
Just keep it nice and straightforward and blunt and simple. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So hopefully that's some kind of that bluntness and simplicity, something you can carry on as we do have you guys going up in finals here, kind of getting ready for that head-to-head. We do have on the screen here these team stats, both of these two teams having some noticeable differences, but also some very notable similarities in terms of their, like you just go by stat. Jolly Riders slightly shorter average game time. They're about 7 minutes. Highest KDA, highest KP player, stuff like that. Kind of looking at these team stats, what are you expecting from the other team? We'll start this time with the Fantastic Academy guys. What are you kind of just expecting from as like a general team, Jolly Riders to match up against you guys?
I feel like they'll be based on like average game time. They want to end these games, run a mid game, and get the ball rolling pretty early on. So all we gotta do is just not let that happen. Should be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like the games are just going to revolve around the mid lane, with both mid laners having the highest stat, and it just seems like that's where both teams seem to sort of want to revolve around.
Fair enough. Nothing wrong with that analysis there. Jolly Rogers, throw it to Cake and Astro. Do you guys have any kind of rough thoughts on how the holistic matchup between you two will go?
Yeah, kind of similar to what they were saying. I mean, I feel like both teams are gonna obviously very close in percentages on getting first blood. But like they said, I think it's gonna be a battle between junglers and mid lane, and how well the skirmishes go for early objectives. I think Fantastic does a great job in the late game, but I think once again, if we're able to get that ball rolling, I think we can close this game out pretty early. So that's going to be our goal. But then again, all of our laners are just not trying to brag, but I love every single one of them. I think each one of them is just great. So that's all I have to say. And obviously our jungle, he can just play around everybody so perfectly. I think our synergy is just, I love it.
Absolutely. Astrid, anything you would like to add on there?
Something I want to point out, I think it's kind of funny how it ended up being in the bracket, is the fact that Fantastic actually ended up drawing the two teams they lost against in the regular split, being TDE and Oz. So I think that's a really fun factor that they ended up just kind of like falling back into like the bracket stage where they play the two teams they lost to, and we ended up playing the first round the team we lost to in the regular season.
That's just the best of. I love these brackets. You just always end up getting the quote unquote bracket demon match, and then getting a chance to prove yourself.
The redemption arc. But yeah, I think like I have full strength and full confidence on what our team can do and to get our ball rolling. I think this is gonna be a really fun matchup overall. I think like they also have really good strong players as well. So it's gonna make the matches like really fun to watch. I still think our team overall is better, so I will still give the team, the upper hand. But I think it's gonna be like a really fun series to play and to watch.
Absolutely are seeing the highest quality teams and the highest quality players. And speaking of those players, we do have kind of a quick breakdown on how each lane by lane matchup will go. We'll go with start from the top lane and then move our way down. And as we can see here, Nazghost versus Kills, the two best top laners in the league. Two very different top laners, and you can tell that based on stats, but also just like the feeling it out test when you play against both of them. It's like Nazghost definitely is more in line with, from my impression of having played against both you guys. I'm curious what you teams think. Nazghost definitely wants to win his lane and then carry that over and steamroll and start the snowball. Whereas Kills is a lot more comfortable being on kind of that weak side and just being the rock that doesn't lose ever. I'm very curious to see what you guys think about this top lane matchup between these two. Whoever would like to jump in.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a great game. I think that it's kind of an unstoppable force meets an immovable object kind of scenario would be the best way I would describe it.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I don't think there's any other better way to describe that matchup.
I think it also just comes down to slow and steady wins the race.
Astrid snorting at that comment, maybe?
I mean, they are like very different style players, so it's really fun to see like when two very different stylistic players go against each other. Because one of them just kind of wants to snowball. He knows what he wants to do. He's the man with a plan. The other one just kind of wants to slow things down, and absorb as much pressure as he wants and just be a solid rock for the team. So like it just comes down to like which one of them can execute what they want to do better, and that will give the other team like a big advantage coming into the mid stage of the game.
And definitely see that coming. Can definitely see that point being made as well. I feel like another role that's very important for getting into that mid to potentially late game stages of the game is in the jungle. We have two junglers that I think have kind of proven through maybe some through some doubt that they are the two best junglers in the league, Golden Bob and Hardstuck Brother. And I know we have Bob here in the chat, so I want to get Bob's thoughts on this first. What do you think of Hardstuck, and how are you kind of getting ready to play against your opposite member?
No, I think he's really good. I think he's a much better carry focused jungler, I'll say that, than I am. I think he's more inclined to want to carry the game for his team, while I'm more of a supportive jungler. I've been mainly on tanks and supports in the jungle, which helps our team a lot. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, and I'm kind of hoping to not have to interact with him too much, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. Is there anyone from Jolly Rogers that wants to assert how he will have to interact with Hardstuck, maybe?
Astrid, if you want to take this, you can.
Yeah, I think Hardstuck is like kind of like a bit of like a two side of a coin kind of player. Like he can be the facilitator when you need him to be. He can play for his lanes. He can play to get his lanes ahead. He can also definitely just play more carry oriented jungles and be like that extra carry that we need when we need him to. So I think that overall he's like a very well rounded player.
Very
Like
versatile.
he really knows what he wants to do. He really knows what his teams wants him to do. He is very good at executing that. So that's all I have to say about that personally.
Fair enough. Definitely. Oh, go ahead. If you
Oh,
still have time.
no. I think he hit it right on the head. I think that was a perfect wrap up of Hardstuck.
Definitely a good wrap up of Hardstuck. Definitely a good wrap up of both of these players in general. And then we'll throw it straight into the mid lane matchup. And we have Mr. Cake22 here. Same question, but on your side of things. How do you feel that you will be going up against whichever mid laner that Fantastic decides to start this week?
I mean, I've heard some good things about their team. Great things about Fifi is one in particular that I've heard about. So a little nervous, a little excited, and I'm just gonna just try to play with my entire team and hopefully just not throw the game. It's my goal.
Fair enough. Anything from Fantastic? I know, obviously, don't leak strats, but if there's any potential thoughts on which mid laner they'll be seeing tonight, kind of how are we thinking that we're going to be matching up into Cake 2-2 here?
I think this is where the matches are gonna either be a make or break. I think it's two really good mid laners. If we have Fifi in the mid lane, I think that's gonna be where the games are decided.
Absolutely. A very critical point on the map there. Another critical point on the map that I do want to address as well. The bottom lane, just as a holistic, between the marksman and support roles, we do have the marksman for Fantastic, and we do have the support / former marksman for Jolly Rogers. Kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on just the overall bot lane matchup here between your guys' two teams. And then just, if you guys have any thoughts on it, just by all means, whoever would like to start. Pyro, Astrid.
I'll go ahead. I think like this, like just in paper, probably the strongest 2v2s. I think our ADCs are very similar in how they would like to play the game and how they play the game, so it's a good matchup against each other. I think like their team overall is a lot more focused than we are. We tend to play more forward solo lanes most of the time. That doesn't mean that we cannot play to our ball lane, but like we usually try to isolate the 2v2 as much as we can, as much as we want to, just because like we're confident what we can do in the 2v2 and how we can do in the lane. So I'm just looking for a really fun matchup, to be honest. I'm just here to have fun.
Here to have a good time. Lil Pyro, is there anything you would like to add on to the fun times in the bot lane?
Yeah, it definitely gets pretty fun down there with all the grading and all that going around. So I feel like, yeah, it'll definitely be a blast on the bot lane.
Fair enough. Well, now that we have gone through all of the individual 5 players on both these teams, do just want to real quick before I let you guys go, we've had this conversation a few times on who is the overall season MVP. Just do want to get real quick thoughts on overall, not necessarily just between your guys' teams, but if there's anyone else they would like to bring up. Who do you believe has been the season MVP for Blue Otter Gold this year?
You kind of miss the supports.
If we would like to talk about the supports specifically, otherwise if the bot lanes in general.
Sorry.
No. It's if anyone would like to talk about the support matchup specifically. Astrid, Pyro, either you two.
I feel like we got the better support. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay.
Fair enough. So then we'll go back to, is there anybody that we have kind of like pegged out as a potential season MVP real quick before we throw it away?
Yeah, I would honestly probably, I think everyone's been great. I would probably nominate Nasghost, in my personal opinion, just because he's been able to, as we've seen from his thing, get great leads and just be able to. I haven't seen him do bad, so I think that's like a very key point, being able to just consistently do well, and I think that the way he just plays around our whole team, I think he's great at doing that.
Absolutely. Pyro, Bob, do either of you guys have a thought on that as well?
Bob's MVP, some say.
Bob is the MVP. Absolutely. Nothing. I would absolutely not disagree with that at this point. He has done a lot to enable his team. Definitely done a lot to enable his team to get to the finals here. So, before we go, do just want to real quick say thank you guys to everyone who has appeared here, everyone for coming on for any of these Otter Talks, for this one, for anything else. It's really been an honor getting to do this for everyone. Been an honor getting to play in this league, and it will certainly be an honor getting to see these two teams play against each other. The top two teams in Blue Otter Gold. Anybody have any closing thoughts before we throw to match waiting screen and let you guys go?
I feel like we're going to 5 games.
We'll try to
That'd be
close it
great.
before then. But yeah, it
I
should be
hear-
a good one.
It'll be a good match.
It will
You know,
definitely be a good
whichever way the coin falls, it's gonna be a good 3 to 5 matches.
Definitely looking forward to it.
Agreed.
Alrighty. Well, I think that'll do it for us here. We'll let all 4 of these players go out to their teams so we can get ready to get into match. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to Otter Talk here for Blue Otter League Gold. We'll be back here in just a little bit to get ready into the match, get ready into the finals here. So stick around, and in the meantime, we will see you all a little bit later. Take care.